I want to give you a report about what just happened, because since 2003, Dutch and Chuck released a word in Washington on their 50-state tour. I was there. I knew what God wanted to do at that time. I knew God would give me a state to test these principles in, because in 1994, Dr. Wagner, you got a hold of a manuscript, and you basically said to me, nice concept. You need to get some actual examples of this thing working. So you have helped spurred me on to prove that these biblical principles, what God Since 2003, I knew I was supposed to launch something. And God was going to give me a state to do that in. That's when he spoke to me about Operation Rolling Thunder. And I can take Dutch's word and Chuck's word, and I can go in and show you what the Spirit of God said through his servants, and then what God did. From a supernatural level 9 solar storm on the surface of the sun, to a circumhorizon arc, to thunderstorms rolling across Washington 3 to 5 a day, and the weatherman on Channel 7 News reports about the rare thunderstorms rolling across Washington. I can tell you about a whirlwind that occurred on the day that at the Northwest New Wine Network I announced the strategy for Operation Rolling Thunder in 2000. We connect the whole thing together with 24/7 prayer, looking to focus on forming the transformation task forces so we can pray very specifically. That's been the message. And every time we give that message, these signs have occurred. There are 12 documented signs and wonders in there, and they have continued. Next slide, please. We have found God gave the signs and wonders until we could see measurable results. Now, some of the measurable results are, once we hit 24/7 prayer in my state, which we did that in May of 2007, I had a pastor call me up in November, very excited. He says, Tim, since May, and you got to understand, his county also had mobilized 24/7 with, I forget how many churches, 12 or 14 churches working together. He'd added 1,000 people, 7 months. That was a seeker-sensitive church. And the thing was, the associate pastor got a hold of this and was mobilizing, very passionate about it. They were ecstatic. But see, that's not just a seeker-sensitive church. I was getting reports from multiple local congregations saying, Tim, 12 new decisions for Christ this weekend. Well, for a church of 140, that's pretty good. They went on to say they have continued to add people. Not only that, their finances changed too. Their budget was no longer an issue. And their testimony is they didn't do anything different. The only thing that changed was the atmosphere. I could tell you about that in January 2008, after 8 months of doing Operation Rolling Thunder, FBI reports crime in every major city. Just before you guys came out, I taught on this whole concept there in Washington. And I said, put up a PowerPoint and said, if we're going to transform and we're praying, I expect results. I don't want to pray for grins. I like the feelings and everything like that, but I want to see measurable results. And I said, if we are going to do this, I would expect crime to go down, because crime is a measure of sin. Would you all agree? I also said I expect to see economic growth and also measurable church growth. Well, that church I spoke of, not only did they see increase in salvations, they saw one day a spontaneous water baptism that occurred in their congregation, where there were more people water baptized in one day than in the whole previous year. And it's continued. They continue with these testimonies and stuff. But FBI reports, crime in every major city goes down. Seattle reached a 40-year low. In Yakima, I have a quote from the police chief that says, crime's at decade-year low, and I don't know why. But I got my connector, my coordinator there, which, by the way, she's Catholic, who says, oh man, we got so many churches praying about the gangs, and we got this, we got 54 prayer walking teams, and blah, blah, blah. They can just go on and tell you the prayer strategy they got going on. I can also tell you that when prayer decreased in King County, within 6 months, the homicide rate had gone right back up. I could keep on going. I could just go down so many. I could tell you about businesses. I could tell you about a business that filed Chapter 13. Made some little changes. They covenanted with the house of prayer.